We ran all of the water out of the lines. We're back at the house, country house, after the ice storm. When we left the house, we didn't know how long the power was going to be off for, so we turned off the water at the main water shutoff in the house, and we ran all of the water out of the lines, hoping to release some of the pressure in there so we didn't have any cracking of the pipes. And so we thought we were really okay. We had just filled up with water that week, so we had 450 gallons left. Behind me, you see our water system. So basically, we truck in water, we fill up that tank, and then that tank is what fills the water or provides the water to the house. We do have a pump, and we do have a pressure tank similar to what they use with wells, and then obviously the pipes run up through the house. So that's our current system. When you buy a new house, sometimes you find things out the hard way, and so when I came back to the house the other day, the water wasn't coming back on. I turned on the sinks, I came back down, I turned back on the water at the main, and thought that everything was going to be fine, and I waited and I waited and I waited, and nothing actually happened. So turns out, as you can see behind me, there's no water in the tank. So clearly our main water shutoff does not work. So we went through 450 gallons with nobody being here. So it just trickled down the drain in the kitchen sink because I left everything on in the on position. I guess what happened was when the power came back on, the pressure tank and the pump came back on and moved all of the water through the house. So ended up winterizing itself in an effect, unfortunately, but we have to go get more water this morning, and so I thought I would take you along to see what was going on. We are getting the main water shutoff replaced with one of the lever ones, which is easier to tell when it's on and off. So hopefully that will solve the problem in the future. But yeah, so this is what's happening this morning. So we're actually at our neighbor's house right now, picking up our water tank trailer that they so kindly let us share. This is our very sophisticated watering system. So basically, we put water in this hole in the top from a machine, which we'll show you. And then the water fills the tank. And then we use this pipe to get the water into our house. So we have to transport it via trailer, and so we're going to go ahead and hook that up right now. So this is our water station. You need to pull forward about, stop. So what you want to do is line the hole of the tank up with the green tube, which is where the water comes out. We have this other tube that we use as a go-between. So it goes between the green line and the tank to get the water in more easily. And then this system over here is where my wonderful husband puts in quarters. And last time we were here, it took about $1.75 in order to fill up this tank with 500 gallons.
Ready?
Yeah.
Here it comes.
Pretty impressive. So we decided not to use the go-between. There was a bunch of leaves and stuff in there, and since this is potable water, I wanted to make sure that we could not contaminate either this tank or the tank in our house. This whole process takes about, I don't know, 2 to 3 minutes, so it's not too bad. The ride into town is about 4 or 5 minutes. The slow part is unloading the water from this tank into our house because it's all gravity fed. So that really is the slowest part of this entire process. So this is our current water inlet, hidden behind this very gorgeous lattice work. It's a very manual system. So the trick is to stretch the hose out as long as it will go. That way you don't get kinks. And since there isn't a pump on it, anytime you get a kink in the hose, it's going to not permit the water to transport out of it. It's going. So the water from outside is coming down through this pipe and filling this tank. It does have a capacity of 535 gallons. I think that with our $1.75, we're gonna fill it right around here, right around the 475 mark or so. So in addition to having this water issue, we were also having a water pressure issue. I bought a different pressure switch thinking that we would just increase the pressure, but we're gonna try checking the air pressure on the tank. So it's supposed to be set at 28. It was somewhere around 16. We've added more air to it. If the air doesn't hold, then we need to replace the tank. If the air holds, then I think that we might have a decent shower. And we might be able to actually brush our teeth in our front bathroom, which is gonna be great because it was like a trickle before. But when we do the rain catchment system, what we're going to end up doing is basically bypassing the need to truck in our water unless it's a super dire situation like a drought. We are going to increase our water capacity, so we may either put in a larger tank or double our tanks down here, and then that will provide us basically longer water options. So basically we can go with water much longer. You can have somebody truck in the water for you. It costs about $30, which is not terrible. But they only transport about 1,000 gallons or so. And so it doesn't really work for us since we only need 500 at a time. But you can see why this process takes a while. I mean, moving all that water is quite a bit. But we do have enough room in this space for another 2 or 3 tanks. So we are definitely going to be increasing it to 1,000, potentially 1,500. We might actually just get rid of this tank, put a slightly bigger tank in here, and then double it up. Then what we'll do is the water will come off of the roof into our gutters, and it will go into the tanks, and then we'll have a whole house filtration system with UV, so we will be able to drink the rainwater. And then when we finally get animals, we'll have something similar set up on their animal shelters. We won't do a water filter system, but we will make sure that it's clean on a regular basis. So that's pretty much how we're going to manage the water. That's probably something that's going to happen in spring or summer of next year. Financing, is a little bit of a problem, so it's all cash. So definitely something where we're going to be saving up for the new roof, the new gutters, the gutter covers, the new tanks, all of that stuff. The tanks itself, about $1.50 to $2 per gallon in size. So if we're going to go up in size for the tanks, we're going to go up in price for the tanks as well. My husband was a little bit cranky about the situation, and I have to say that I'm actually pretty pleased, not pleased, because nobody ever wants this to happen, but I'm pretty pleased that we found out that the water shutoff doesn't work, rather than assuming that it did, and then in an instance where we really needed it, it didn't actually function. So it was one of those situations where it's really inconvenient to have to go get more water after we just filled it up. But in this same instance, it didn't flood the house. We don't need it for a project that we're working on with the contractor, and it won't work. So this is actually not as bad of a situation as it could have been. We will be installing a new water shutoff, and it will go right here. It will be a lever, so it'll be easy to see whether it's on or off. All the way, and it's something that we'll be able to use in the future, much easier than the current system right now. So turn the water on in the house, and everything seems to be working fine. Shower's working, toilet's flushing correctly, kitchen sink's working, but this sink we have had a trouble with since we had it installed, and water is no longer coming out of it. It was at a trickle, like a trickle before, and we were assuming that it was because of the water pressure in the house. But there's just like absolutely no water coming out of it. And this is a Kingston brass fixture, so it's not like one of those cheapy ones that comes from China that's not working correctly. They did hook it up to the shower when they originally installed it because we were having problems getting water into the sink. And it works just fine. So I'm not real sure what the deal with the master bathroom sink. Well, it's not really the master bathroom sink. It's the only bathroom sink we have. So everything else seems to be working okay. I'm going to go double check something down in the basement, but again, it's like one of those things that like is just not working right in the house, and I'm not real sure. I'm not a plumber at all, and I don't really understand why something would work in one sink and not the other. So it's a little bit of a concern. But we are having somebody come in and finally take down the Crayola light and the other light that doesn't work, and so I will obviously have him take a look at it and try and troubleshoot that issue when they do come. Kind of be nice just to have everything working in this place.